whatever. Today we are going to be talking about the best Pokemon in every gen that isn't legendary or mythical. Once again, these are not my opinions. This is just the article that I'm reading because I found it and thought it looked cool. So if I see one fucking comment about how I'm wrong or this is all wrong, everyone has their own fucking opinions. This is also not my opinion. This is just what I'm fucking reading. And yeah, let's do it. Legendary mythical Pokemon rule the roost in each game, with only a handful of other creatures able to stand up to them. But what happens when you take the creatures like Mewtwo and Arceus out of the equation? What about the Pokemon that just sit outside the bans list? The ones not whispered about in the Pokédex, yet powerful at the same time. The list will focus on Pokemon introduced in their own generations, while Pokemon like Snorlax and Dragonite have been strong across the entire series. They appear only as Gen 1 entries. The goal is to highlight the raw powers introduced in each generation, not older mons who stayed strong through stat boosts, new abilities, or transformations like Mega Evolution. Number 9, Gen 1, Alakazam. There are several issues with Pokemon Red and Blue, but the biggest problem with the battle system is the complete dominance of Psychic-type creatures. This was before the special stat was split, giving them overwhelming offensive defense. With no strong counters since Dark and Steel types didn't exist until Gen 2, nothing could reliably stand up to them. Mew and Mewtwo are Psychic-type rulers of Gen 1, but taking them out of the equation leaves Alakazam as the next in line. Alakazam is a Psychic-type powerhouse with high stats and an excellent move pool, including the stab-infused Psychic that can overwhelm much of the competitive scene. With access to healing moves like Recover, it can become extremely difficult to take down. Number 8, Gen 2 Tyranitar. Gen 2 introduced the Dark and Steel-type Pokemon to act as the counter for the Psychic types that weren't Psychic types, but there weren't many new mons that utilized these types. Fortunately, there was one powerhouse that had the power to strike down the lingering threats from Gen 1, Tyranitar. Poor speed aside, Tyranitar has incredible stats, having a ton of bulk to survive enemy attacks, as well as strong offense and defense capabilities. On top of that, Tyranitar... Hold on... Tyranitar also has an impressive move pool with a wide range of options, which allow it to fill several different roles. This Pokemon had everything going for it in Gen 2, especially with the immunity to Psychic-type attacks. The only downside in Pokemon Gold and Silver was that it still couldn't be caught until nearly the end of the game. Number 7, Gen 3 Metagross. Gen 3 introduced the ability Hold on. Gen 3 introduced the ability mechanic to the Pokemon series, giving both old and new Pokemon buffs that help diversity their playstyles. Metagross, a standout new addition in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, benefited from Clear Body, which prevented opposing Pokemon from lowering its stats, which is a common threat in competitive battles. Even without Clear Body, Metagross was a powerhouse. Its Steel Psychic typing provided numerous resistance, while its high base stat and access to strong, diverse moves made it one of the best offensive threats in the game. It's no surprise that Steven Stone saved this formidable Pokemon for last in the final battle of the Gen 3 games. Number 6, Gen 4 Garchomp. Speaking of Pokemon used by champions, Garchomp is the beloved companion of Cynthia in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, and players are still terrified of facing it. This is due to Garchomp's naturally high stat distribution and fantastic Dragon Ground type, making it hard to face in battle. Ice-type Pokemon can decimate Garchomp, but still have to survive long enough to face it. Not only is Garchomp one of the best designed Dragon-type Pokemon, but its power is boosted by the stab bonus applied to the moves like Dig, Dragon Claw, Earthquake, and Outrage. It also has access to a wide range of utility moves, including the buffering moves Sword Stance, entry hazards like Spikes and Stealth Rock, and even Fire-type coverage such as Flamethrower, and in case an Ice-type Pokemon tries to challenge that Ground Dragon. Number 5, Gen 5 Hydreigon. Pokemon Black and White introduced a boatload of legendary mythical Pokemon, but a few regular entries stood out. While Pokemon like Amoonguss had situational usefulness, they struggled to perform consistently across different matchups. Ultimately, it was Hydreigon that stood out among the Unova Pokemon. With extremely high stat and strong defense and Dark Dragon, Hydreigon could unleash powerful moves like Stab Booster, Draco Meteor, and Dark Pulse. Its Levitate ability also offered protection against ground types, including threats like Garchomp. The only major downside came in Pokemon X and Y, when the introduce of Fairy type gave Hydreigon a crippling 4 times weakness that opponents could easily exploit. Number 4, Gen 6 Greninja. Pokemon XY is a tough one to call, with both Iggy Slash and Greninja being standout picks, but it's the ninja that wins it out in the end. This comes down to the protein, the ability that lets Greninja change its type to match to the move it's using, giving the built-in stab bonus on every attack. Greninja is one of the most iconic water-type Pokemon, but its monstrous speed is a huge factor of why it's used so often. Chances are Greninja is going to move first, and with the move pool this big, it can do whatever the situation calls for. Greninja packs a wide range of status effects and buffering moves, giving it a flexibility every time it hits the field. And with Protein in play, it can shift gears and strike for massive damage for the opponents it needs to go on the offense. Number 3, Gen 7 Pheromosa. Including the Ultra Beast is kind of a cheat, considering that they're about as close to legendary and mythical as they come. However, they're technically not classed among the mightiest of the Mons, and they're barely even classed as Pokemon within the lore of the game, so Pheromosa still qualifies for this list. Pheromosa is the very definition of glass cannon, aka something that can dish out damage but can't take it. It's ridiculously high speed attack and special attack, meaning it's probably going to be outrunning anything it goes up against. What makes it so effective is that the stab infused U-turn, which hits like a truck, then allows it to switch out to something beefier, letting it deal with damage to avoid enemy counters. Number 2, Gen 8 Dracovish. Dracovish is one of the most bizarre-looking Pokemon in the franchise, being an amalgamation of dinosaur parts. Its goofy exterior hides one of the most ruthless and powerful mons to debut Galar region. This is why Ash Ketchum was sporting a Dracovish on his team during the final run of Pokemon Anime's Protagonist. Dracovish is one of the best gimmick builds in the entry of Pokemon. This is due to its exclusive move, Vicious Rend, which strikes with double power if the user doesn't go first, which is further bolstered by its strong jaw ability, empowering it by 1.5 times. If Dracovish can survive its first attack, which it doubles with help of its companion, then it's going to deal a ridiculous amount of damage. And number 1 with Gen 9 Baxcalibur. Pokemon have dominated this list, and it's fitting that the ends with another one. Baxcalibur is a Dragon Ice type, which isn't the best when it comes to defense typing, but its hit points and attack stat means the enemy should be more fearful about keeping their own Pokemon alive. Baxcalibur can deal ridiculous damage with Glaive Rush, its exclusive move, when it comes to the cost of taking double damage itself from the enemy until it uses another move. A stab infused a stab infused Glaive Rush is one of the most threatening offense moves in the game, and if its companions find a way to keep it during doubles, then it has a chance to keep pumping them out. If an ally can throw up a hail, then Baxcalibur can use its Ice Body ability to heal every round, allowing it to survive just long enough to keep up its rampage. And that is the ending for this one, and I hope you all enjoy. Let me know what you think about this list and what your opinions on it are down below in the comments. And yeah, that's basically it. I love you guys. If you're new to my channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button, give your thumbs up, hit the bell so you get notified videos every Wednesday. I love you guys, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.